Hi, this is AstroKrys from CodaQueenAstrology, and today's video is going to be on the Aquarius new moon. If you're new to my channel, please don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification bell, so you'll be notified when I post weekly videos. And for those of you that are returning, thank you so much for being here. Join us in our Astro group where I do mini live readings every month and have guest hosts, in addition to doing IG lives every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. The links are going to be in the description below. Hope to see you there. Bring your questions. So let's get to it. The Aquarius new moon is happening on February the 11th, 2021. And this new moon is very interesting. It has a lot of air energy. We have a lot of planets in the sign of Aquarius. This is called a stellium in astrology. It's a concentration of energy. And technically, a stellium functions as a mega planet. So whatever planet is involved in the grouping, so the configuration, becomes a mega planet. And right here we have Saturn, Jupiter, Venus, Mercury, the moon, and the sun all together. As a Hellenistic astrologer, we use the 7 major planets, the personal planets and the social planets. Those are the strongest. And the outer planets, they bring more of a psychological influence and more on a global scale. So the stelliums are a big deal because when all the personal and social planets are together in one sign, that is impacting our lives in every single level. And in this stellium, the only planet that is not gathered around the energy of Aquarius is Mars. Now, Mars is participating in the aspects because he is making squares to all the planets in Aquarius, but he's not in the sign of Aquarius. He happens to be next to Uranus, which is an outer planet, and the only other planet that is not in the configuration other than Uranus, Mars, is Neptune. Now, Neptune and Uranus are outer planets, so they're not felt as strongly when it comes down to this social and personal planet criteria. From this point on, you'll continue to hear the age of Aquarius, how we're entering the age of Aquarius, how it's the dawn of age of Aquarius. And this is one thing that's kind of solidifying. Now in the 1960s, we had a similar configuration. And back then, they started bringing up the age of Aquarius. There's music around the age of Aquarius, things like that. And this stellium that happened in the 60s also brought a lot of interesting developments during that year, and we'll cover that later. But going back to the new moon in Aquarius for us, we're seeing that there's a lot of planetary involvement. Now, all these planets are trining the North Node, particularly Mercury is trining the North Node. Now, Mercury rules the sign of Gemini where the North Node is at. So this is actually a very supporting aspect. So we're going to see a lot of developments in regard to technology, in regard to travel, in regard to communication fields, also short trainings, things like that. And we know that this has been in the works, but we're just going to get flooded with information from this point on. Sometimes we don't see or feel the developments as they're being worked on, but once they're ready to launch, these are projects that were being worked on way before they were launched, right? So right now it's a lot of inner working, a lot of revamping programs, changing things up, especially because Mercury is retrograde in this chart. So we're not going to see a lot of these projects launch or be announced until after Mercury goes direct. One of the first aspects I would like to discuss is the square that Mercury has with Mars. Now, when Mercury and Mars come together, this becomes a little bit of a forceful communicator. especially when there's a square. And that's what they're doing. They're squaring each other. So there's tension. This can be bringing some type of hostility, especially a verbal, like a verbal argument, verbal hostility. So we might hear more things in the media where people are expressing themselves in a very abrupt and forceful way, because it is Mars. Now, Venus is the ruler of Taurus, and Mars is in Taurus right now. So Venus is under the command of Saturn, and she is forming an exact conjunction with Jupiter during the Aquarius new moon. And both Jupiter and Venus are benefic planets, but both are in signs that they don't rule. So they're still under the command of Saturn. Now, Jupiter is the planet of expansion, beliefs, wisdom. Also, on the shadow side, it could be dogmatic, it could be egotistic, it could be righteous. So there is some ups and downs to every sign, every planet. And Venus can be very indulgent, like Jupiter, one-sided, only interested in her endeavors, or affect relationships, love, money, and also food, because Venus rules the sign of Taurus, and that is related to food. Now, Jupiter and Venus together bring some sort of lucky aspect. So it is considered a very benefic and lucky aspect. The thing is that Jupiter and Venus are both getting a square from Mars. So again, more tension, something else happening, some more tension. And Venus is applying the square. Now, in regard to Jupiter, Mars has already separated from the square, but Venus is a faster moving planet than Mars, so she has not perfected the square between Mars and herself. Now, this can bring issues with couples, arguments and disagreements, and it is happening right before Valentine's Day. So we're probably going to see a lot of different ways of expressing love. Venus is in the sign of Aquarius, so maybe we're going to see more gestures on social media. We're going to see more declarations of love that are, posted on social media versus going out and having a romantic dinner or going out dancing or on a date. So there is some type of restriction. Venus in the sign of Aquarius is a little bit more logical than romantic, a little bit more in her head, and less expressive. The Venus in Aquarius individual, if you have this natally in your chart, you require a lot of freedom. It's a very freedom seeking, eccentric type of love. And a lot of them have their own interests, and they need a lot of alone time to express these interests and belong to their own social networks. And then from there, go back to their lover. So the Venus in Aquarius is a little bit more detached than all the other Venus placements. So Venus being part of this tension with Mars, it does point out to having disagreements with your loved ones, disagreements with your partners, and we just have to be careful. We have to think more logically and try to express ourselves more respectfully, especially because Mercury is there. Mercury is retrograde, and luckily they're not as close to the sun. So Mercury and Venus, Jupiter and Saturn, they're still being combusted by the sun, but they're not very close to it. So they are gaining strength. The sun is moving out of the sign of Aquarius, and once the sun is far enough from Jupiter, Saturn, and Venus and Mercury, they'll be visible in the sky, and we consider that being born again. Thus, everything that they rule is going to start functioning more easily and naturally versus having all these retrograde hiccups and things like that. But going back to this stellium energy, now it's very unusual to have so much concentration of energy in one sign. Stelliums happen often, but not too often. The last major stellium that lasted for a few years was the Capricorn group. So in the 90s, we had a set of Capricorn heavy people being born with the sun, the moon, and outer planets, a mix with personal planets in the sign of Capricorn. And last year we also had a mixture of that. If you were born around Capricorn season, when the sun's in Capricorn, then you had Pluto, Saturn, Jupiter in Capricorn. And if you were born near the new moon in Capricorn, it was going to be also including the sun and the moon. So stelliums are not that often, but when they are, a lot of people with this energy tend to change the collective consciousness. We have terms like indigo children, crystal children, and this is based on the generational planets and how we get stelliums, and the children end up being born with a different level of consciousness. And it's said that the crystal children, they have a purple aura, indigo children have a purple-ish aura, and etc. So what I'm seeing here based on this chart is a lot of evolutionary consciousness. Now, Aquarius is fixed air, and the mythology around the constellation of Aquarius is that the water bearer was appointed the constellation of Aquarius due to Zeus having an infatuation with him. Now, he was appointed sharing knowledge, sharing wisdom. And that's what the water bearer does. A lot of people think that Aquarius, because it says aqua, Aquarius is a water sign. It's not, it's an air sign. But air has moisture, air has water in it, and water creates life. Water has microbes, water spreads germs, water carries life. All the elements working together create life on this earth. So the energy of air is to spread knowledge, to spread logic, to spread ideas and evolve, especially Aquarius air. Gemini is lower level ideas, and then we have the energy of Libra, which is socializing and collaborating and communicating. So all the air signs, they're masculine, they have a flavor of knowledge. And having so much air, this is going to be a year of air, so many people having ideas, so many things happening. And back in 1962, when all these same planets were in the sign of Aquarius, we had developments around outer space. And earlier this year, they started talking about that eventually we're going to hear some news about aliens. And it's interesting how these developments synchronize with the astrology. So back in 62, that's when the first man, John Glenn, was the first man in outer space. So we are going to see a lot more developments around travel, around technology and the efficiency of technology, about improving the airlines, improving travel, improving learning, improving methods or processes that are now going to help the communities versus the governmental structures. Because the sign of Aquarius is a sign that likes to work with the collective as a whole. The last aspect that I do want to take a look at is Chiron sextiling Saturn. Chiron brings great opportunity to heal. Now with Saturn, it's a little rough. Saturn forces us to heal. So we've had a lot of communication with Chiron. Actually, Chiron's going to be talking with us this year, very heavily aspecting, because we have a lot of air and Chiron is in fire sign it's in the sign of Aries. So Aries is communicating with air signs. And Chiron's given us a lot of opportunities to release some stress, to work on our gifts, to develop self-confidence, to be more in line with our life purpose. Now, the mission of Chiron is a little bit skewed as he is known as the wounded healer, and this energy here is hidden talents. Talents that come with pain or trauma or some type of hurt or injury. And we tend to bury it and not pay too much mind or attention to it because it's not really in our face forward. But the pain is there. The doubt is there. The low self-esteem is there in that area, whatever it's impacting. But it's really hard to face because it's a deep down wound or injury. Okay, so that was the recap in regard to the new moon in Aquarius. And now I'm going to get to the forecast. And as always, I invite you to look at your rising sign, your sun sign, and your moon sign, because those are all the areas of life that will be affected by transits. We see the sun is connected more to the career, the moon's connected more to the internal feelings and mood, and your ascendant is the primary indicator of the life path. So that's also very strong, and that's how we find the house positions in your chart. And if you do not have a natal chart, such as this one right here in the screen, you can always go to my birth chart calculator, where you can get a free birth chart and you can have it with you so you can start exploring your own astrology yourself and start learning with me. So I invite you to learn with me, bring your chart, and you can notice if there's any planets hitting any of these degrees, then that means you're gonna feel some type of effect or it could either be positive, negative, but you're gonna feel this energy in the sky very strongly in your personal astrology. The description to my birth chart calculator will be below. For Aries sun, moon, or rising, this energy is happening in your 11th house. And this is a new beginning in regard to your long-term goals. So long-term goals, long-term gains, dreams, collaboration, networking, that's going to be on your mind for quite some time, because after the new moon and the sun, Venus, Mercury, they all move out of the 11th house. Saturn and Jupiter will remain there. So still revamping that area of life, but this is a good time to start on those projects. If you have plans to collaborate with people, if you have plans to be part of any type of humanitarian organization, or even start your own charity, things like that. Think of long-term trajectory things like investments or retirement accounts that you want to pay attention to so they can grow and you can have a stable future and bring stability into your life. This is a great time to do so. Now, overall, the planets in the 11th house sextile your natal ascendant. So they're going to sextile your ascendant, or if it's your sun or moon that we're talking about in Aries, all the planets in Aquarius are sextiling, providing support and also making you feel quite well. So this is a very good transit for you, Aries. And for Taurus rising, sun or moon, this new moon is happening in your 10th house of career and status. So issues around career developments are going to be highlighted in addition to the home and career axis, because whenever we have such a huge stellium energy in one side of the chart, the polar opposite sign also gets affected. So you're going to feel some pressure in regard to the home. And Leo rules your home, and Leo is in the sign of Aquarius. So again, tying in the home for you. So maybe your responsibilities around work, or the amount of work that you're doing, or not even having a job. So it's either whatever extreme work situation. It could be overworking or not working at all that's causing a lot of stress for you. Now, Mars is in your
first house. So it's actually energizing your ascendant, giving you some willpower and some push through. So if it's time for you to, crack that computer open so you can rewrite and revamp your resume, then go ahead and do that. But if you are in a position where you can further yourself to promote, this is a great time to set intentions. The new moon is all about intentions. It's all about new beginning. That's when the sun and the moon are refreshed and reborn. They unite in the sign. And this doesn't happen often, right? The next time we have a new moon in the sign of Aquarius, it's not going to be until the next time, and that's around January of next year. So take advantage of this energy, set intentions to either promote or get a new position or get a new job, and also balance the home and work life. For Gemini rising, sun or moon, this new moon is happening in your 9th house. So this is a beautiful new moon for you. It's a house of beliefs. It's a house of travel, ideals, languages, information, gathering experiences, connecting to foreigners and foreign lands. So you're having new beginnings in regard to your belief system. In addition to having maybe thoughts of either attaining another degree or going back to school or just getting tutored or mentored by a teacher or a guru, you're expanding your beliefs and your knowledge and rewiring any old beliefs that were not serving you anymore, that they were keeping you at a level that you were not evolving and you were unhappy and unsatisfied with your life. So this is a great time to set intentions on either traveling or connecting or learning something new. It's a very, very good transit for you. And even after the sun, moon, and Venus and Mercury leave, you still have Jupiter there. And Jupiter is the natural ruler of the 9th house. So he's going to expand this area, bring a lot of opportunities. Typically, when Jupiter transits the 9th house, it usually brings a group of people or a like an astrology tribe that you will be interested in. So it doesn't have to be astrology. It could be anything in regard to your interests. So whatever you're interested in, you can meet a group of people that are also interested in this, and then you find your new soul tribe. You are feeling a little bit of the effects of Mars being in your 12th house, but that will run its course. So if you are not able to sleep pretty well, because usually when Mars is in the 12th, you have issues with sleeping or you could even get nightmares, make sure you place an amethyst, a celestite, a Herkimer diamond, or selenite, any of the softer white intuitive stones, light baby blue stones, next to your bed so you can have a good night's rest, because Mars is making you a little bit restless. You do have Uranus in that house, but he's going to be there for a while, and he's going to continue to just expand that area of the subconscious and bring downloads and connect you to new information. And for Cancer, sun, moon, or rising, the new moon is happening in your 8th house. So this is a good time to take up studies, anything in regard to the occult or secrets, or you might even discover some secrets either in your circles like family or friends that could be enlightening, because it's the energy of Aquarius. Open your eyes somehow, or just you get epiphanies in regard to things that you were seeing and you were not really comprehending at that time, and all of a sudden you find silent psychological connections which can change your course, change the way you see things and the way that you are connecting with others on a more intimate level. On the other hand, this is a good time to set intentions around money. So the 8th house is connected to joint resources, but it's also connected in business astrology to the money that you revenue from your career. So if you are looking to attain a promotion or looking to start a side business venture, it's a good time to set intentions around that. If you are a student of psychology, this is also a good time to set intentions on connecting to the material and maybe being more successful, because it is a house that's connected to psychology. On the other hand, it's also a very traumatic house. It's the house of death and rebirth. So you can also be inclined to work on any type of injury that's been holding you back, any type of feelings or memories or experiences that no longer serve you, and you want to put them to rest so you're able to move on and transform. So for you, Cancer, you're going to do a lot of transformation this year, as Jupiter and Saturn will stay there for the rest of the year. And then Jupiter moves on and Saturn keeps on changing this area of life for you. Mars is in the 11th house of friendships, networks. So you might feel a little bit more driven to take initiative and connect with people that are aligned to your ideals and purposes. It can also bring up any type of disagreements or issues with friends, so be careful with that energy there. But all in all, this is a good energy to just recharge yourself and connect with your tribe. Now for Leo, Sun, Moon, or Rising, the new moon is happening in your 7th house of relationships, partnerships, contracts, business contracts, collaborations. So this is a good time to set intentions on how you want your marriage to be, or your partnerships, or even very close, intimate friendships to be, if you have intentions on partnering or collaborating with other people. This new moon was just what you needed, because now you can set those intentions. Maybe you can set an outline on how you're going to change things around. So if it's in a marriage, how you're going to improve your communication and also your romance. But if this is a business collaboration, then this is a good time for you to set intentions on what it is you want out of this new partnership. What are the expectations? How you are going to work with this other person and work together? How is this going to benefit both parties? Because it does take an energy of that balancing Libra, right? That's the natural house ruler. But with the Aquarius energy, because Aquarius rules your 7th house cusp, you have to think of higher ideals and eccentricity in whatever contract that you're going into. So this new venture needs to be genius, needs to be out of this world, or just connected to technology, and also connecting to networks and reaching out to massive amount of people and networks. Now, on the other hand, for romance, this is a good time to plan adventures. Maybe both you need like a weekend getaway, or you need to bond a little more because you've been feeling not connected, not too romantic. With Venus and Jupiter in exact conjunction, amplifying your feelings and how you feel about other people and feel about your spouse or boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever it is going to help you out. Just tap into that inner love. And for Virgo ascendant, sun or moon, the Aquarius new moon is happening in your 6th house of work, daily routines, health. So it's a great time to go and get a checkup. Also set intentions around how you want your work to look like. What do you want your days to look like? What is your routine? What are your habits? So how are you of service? This is another place that this house correlates to, is the way that you are of service. So for the next 2 years, you're going to have Saturn there. And for the next year, you're going to have Jupiter. And for a couple months, you're going to have Mercury, and Venus will exit with the sun momentarily. But you are rewiring now. You are setting intentions on finding the best balance, the best habits, the best health routine, and organizing yourself, getting it together. Maybe for a while, a little things, things got a little bit out of control. I mean, as a Virgo rising, I doubt that it got out of control, but it might feel like that for you. So get your new routine going. Look at everything you need to change. But don't forget those doctor's appointments, very important. Get your physical checkup, set new intentions around this, and look at the rest of your life. See how it's functioning, how your habits are affecting it, and how you can be a little bit more efficient and of service to others. And this new moon will be excellent for you. And for Libra ascendant, sun, or moon, the new moon's happening in your fifth house. This is an awesome placement. So, your fifth house of romance, what you love, creativity, entrepreneurship, and inner child, children, it's being activated for 2 years by Saturn. So, a lot of rewiring, a lot of changing, leveling up there. And Jupiter is going to be there for a year. And then the rest of the planets kind of dwindle out. But you are being rewired in regard to tapping into your inner creativity. What is it that you love? Who is it that you love? How are you connecting to your children if you have any? How are you connecting with your inner child? How are you feeding your soul? So all this year and a little bit of next year, you're going to see some rewiring in regard to what you really enjoy, your inner expression, your inner self, and how you express that to others, how others see you, and see your inner genius shine. Now, Aquarius rules your fifth house, so the energy does oppose the natural energy of Leo because this is the natural house of Leo, and you just have all your houses flipped that way. So, Aquarius is now ruling your Leo house. It is a good time to think about the things that you really want to do. So, during this new moon, work on you, work on maybe even taking a short adventure with a loved one, or start dating. If you don't have anyone in your life and you want to connect and you want to share your love with another person, then take those initiatives. What is it that you want to do? Are you going to connect on social media? Are you going to go out, take a jog, and maybe, talk to people, mingle there to see if you find someone? So take those steps, plan accordingly, or just take the leap and start your own business. This is the house of entrepreneurship. So for Scorpio rising, sun or moon, the Aquarius new moon is happening in your fourth house of the home. And this is a beautiful new moon for that, as you can set intentions to just foster more deep connected relationships with your loved ones, with your family, spend more time at home, maybe clean and re-energize the home by moving stagnant energy, getting rid of things that no longer serve you, things that you no longer use, maybe broken items, like tidying up the place and purging things that are not of use for you. They're just taking up energy, taking up space. Now, I do think that this is a great time to tap into your genealogy and get to know your heritage and culture, and maybe connect a little more with the family, or just start making those memories with your own family. Make family traditions and family customs and connect with your children, etc. Now, if you are not in a marriage, in a relationship, this can also be a great time to meet someone, and that special someone could form a family with you. Jupiter transiting the fourth and fifth houses typically can bring higher probability of pregnancy, and we're having the moon there, which is the great mother, and Venus, which is romance. So this is also a good time to have a child or set intentions on having a child, and this will change your life completely. It will transform your everyday life routines and your sacred home, right? Because that's what the fourth house is. It's your sacred home. On the other end, the fourth house is also a connection to your inner feelings and your inner child. If you have anything that no longer serves you, this is a time to let it go. We have Saturn transit there. Saturn tends to harden every single house that it transits. So for the next 2 years, you're going to be looking very deeply into your feelings and seeing what it is that you need to get rid of So you can change the patterns that you're in or you're stuck in and that no longer serve you. It can bring a lot of responsibility to the home, a lot more things to do, but you can do it. So set intentions on just bonding with your family and cleaning up your sacred space. And Sagittarius, sun, moon, or rising, this new moon is happening in your third house of siblings, neighborhoods, licensure, short trips, communication. So, this is a great time to just have fun. Set intentions on learning something new, adventuring your local environment, or connecting with your siblings, neighbors. We've been in the lockdown for a while, so maybe it's a good time to go to your neighbors and, share your experiences of how all this made you feel and bond by making new friends. You can find a friend in your neighbor. Now, another good thing about this transit is if you've been thinking of taking up a short course or a any type of certification or licensure, this house rules that. So this is a time that you are going to be developing yourself in those areas. You can even be the one developing the courses. So if you are planning to eventually launch a course, then as a Sagittarius rising with all this activation in the third house, this is awesome for you to develop those mini online courses, or maybe an astrology course that you're creating, anything like that, that is not necessarily college degree, but it is going to give a skill to a person and it's going to help their daily quality life and routine. The third house also is connected with our daily routines and habits, such as the sixth house. So whatever it is that you do, just make sure it serves the purpose of short, quick skills. Communicate with your siblings, connect with your siblings, and spend more time in your neighborhoods. Very great time for you. And for Capricorn, sun, rising, or moon, the new moon is happening in your second house of resources, of self-esteem, of value. You're going to be revamped on that area. I notice that typically when there's such a transit, your food or what you value as food changes. You tend to be more of a picky eater, especially with Saturn there. You start becoming more aware of what you're putting inside your body, how that is nurturing your body. So you start connecting more with the food. So this is a great transit to revamp your diet, the food that you're actually taking in, and how you're nurturing and valuing your own body. Another thing about this transit is that it can also bring issues in regard to your spending habits and how you are using your money, how your money is being spent. So take a look at that. Take a look at your budget. Jupiter in the second house can help you grow. So if you are in business, it can help you grow and your wallets grow too. So this is a good time to set intentions on maybe how you expect your business to do. But if you're not in business, then this is a good time to set intentions on how you want your money to grow. So the second house new moon is calling you to look at your budget, to look at your inner self and what you love and the food that you are using to value your body. And for Aquarius, sun, rising, or moon, this new moon's happening in your first house. This new moon is all about you. This transit is all about you. You're going to see a lot of changes in the area of the self and also the rest of the houses. Whenever we have a lot of activation in the first house, that is the beginning of your life path. So if you're a Aquarius rising, this is going to apply to you the most. At a lesser degree, the sun and the moon. because as an Aquarius rising, this is your first house. This is your physical body. This is the self. And these planets here are aspecting every single house in your chart. They're aspecting the 10th, which is career and status. They're aspecting the 4th house, which is your home and your inner child. And they're also aspecting the 7th house, which is your relationships and how you partner. So your entire life gets aspected, in addition to the other houses that do receive aspects, but they're not major aspects. So find yourself, develop the self, do things that you love. This is an awesome new beginning in all those areas. And because you end up having this massive amount of energy, this big, huge stellium, which ends up forming a mega planet, a lot of areas in your life will be dramatically changed. And for Pisces rising, sun or moon, this energy is happening in your 12th house. So you're going to be doing a lot of resting. You're probably going to have a very active dream life as well. You're going to have Saturn there rewiring your subconscious and maybe bringing up some fears and traumas and things like that that you need to work on. And this could also be inner beliefs. It doesn't have to be any traumatic event that you experienced in your life. It's anything that kind of holds you back and you set as limits in your subconscious. Ooh, Saturn's gonna have fun with that. So it's a really good transit to just work on the self, work within, but very, very carefully, taking a lot of rests, making sure you get a lot of mental health checkups, like not necessarily with a professional, but you're looking at your health, how you're feeling, how you are behaving, and just nurturing yourself. It's also a great time to develop a meditation practice when you have a lot of activity there, as you are going to be downloading to the max. You're getting rewired, because once all these planets move to your first house in a few years, you're going to be spilling out everything you learned, everything you worked on during this period. So get working on being of service to others, maybe joining a charity or a charity organization, and helping, like if you have tech skills, helping them build their social media, or you connecting with others over social media. So this is a beautiful time to just do what you love. And that is all for the quick forecast. So if you like this video, don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and comment below. Let me know your intentions. And check out these 2 videos that I'm recommending for you. I'm pretty sure you'll enjoy them. Until next time, bye.